Hi, everybody that's watching. I'm here with my friend Lauren. And how do you pronounce your last name?
Cercione, my last name.
Okay. In my head, I say it one way, but I didn't want to say it out loud, and I think it was close. So we're here today to talk about Lauren's experience with tracking macros. So Lauren is a fitness and nutrition coach. We actually met like 4 years ago now through a business course that we were both kind of involved with the same coach. I don't even think we were in the same cohort, but we were in like the Facebook group together. And we connected on some of the same interests and became friends. And Lauren wanted to learn how to track macros. So she came to me for coaching. I think it was like 1 year into my business, and she got really great results and has like sprung forward from that and had a lot of her own success. So I wanted to have her on and let her share a little bit about what she learned and kind of her experience. So Lauren, what made you decide that you wanted to start tracking macros?
Yeah, well, first of all, I didn't know it was your first year. You were so good.
Oh, thank you. I did personal training and coaching offline for years. It was my first year online.
Oh, I was like, you were so confident in your coaching. You were amazing. Okay. All right. I was like, great, that doesn't seem right. I'm like, I felt like, okay. So I started tracking because I always wanted to, I always wanted to learn the method because I've seen people talk about how you have freedom and if it fits your macros type of lifestyle, and that you could like kind of predict, what your outcomes were going to be by tracking. So I really liked that aspect of it. And so that's what really intrigued me overall. And the timing of it was, I'll just answer that first question. I really like the predictability of it. That really intrigued me, that you can kind of like rely on something to like give external feedback and an objective point of view when you were dealing with food.
Yeah. It's not like just try something and see what happens. Like you have actual things you can measure, and then you can manage them to get an outcome. Yeah. Definitely. And when you were first starting out, what did you feel like? Do you remember what some of the things you struggled with were?
Well, I feel like I always I'm unrelatable in a certain way to this, because I had spent 4 months getting used to my anti-inflammatory diet before, right? So remember, I reached out to you and I was like, I'm going to acupuncture. My digestive system is mess, but when I'm ready, I'm going to work with you. And so once I felt like I was used to eating from this like teeny tiny small list, I was like, okay, like now I think I can manage measuring and like cutting, because I was just eating freely just to get used to the list. And so when I felt like I could handle both, that I was like, okay, like let me reach out to her. And what was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, what were some of the struggles that you had at first with tracking?
So the struggle,
what felt challenging?
Yeah, I had to get through that struggle first.
And I remember that list
before I could add on. I think the struggle was, I was trying to think of like some of the coaching messages that we would send back and forth. I feel like the struggle was, I feel like it was really just getting the mindset around like, these are the foods that like I kind of have to eat if I want to look a certain way within this list, because all greens were off, no berries, no chocolate, no wine, like stuff that like you could have for like flexible dieting within macros. I didn't have any of those outlets.
Right. You couldn't have dairy, could you?
No, dairy was fine. Like it's
okay.
Weird. Constitutional acupuncture, there's 8 body types, and it's different than like what you would see like on a medical list for IBS or something. Like it kind of doesn't make sense, but it works.
Okay.
I kind of feel like it was just that, like, it was really like, if we want our body to change, like regardless if you're on an anti-inflammatory diet or not, if you want your body to look and perform a certain way, you have to make different food choices of quality of foods. you know, and like if you fits your macros, like stupid thing with the Pop-Tarts, like people joking about that, it's like,
Yeah.
that's not going to have the same effect on your cells, on your brain, on your blood, you know, like, and so I think that like really getting the mindset around like, you learn how to make things taste good. You know, like I didn't really know how to cook at that point. This was so silly.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, I see you cooking in your stories all the time now.
and then like babies like my food. Like I cook for my friend and her little baby, and like he loves my meatballs. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Like I was the person who like didn't even know you could add salt and pepper to cooking. I was like, oh, I was so bland. I was afraid of cooking. I thought everything would taste terrible.
Yeah.
I think the mindset, like you really have to be like, if you don't look the way you want to look now, it's probably because you're eating like food that doesn't agree with you in some way or another. And it's
Right.
really that.
Right, right. Yeah. And a lot of times, like, and I'm sure you've experienced this too as a coach, people will come to you and they'll say, I'm doing all the things right, I'm eating right, but I'm not getting results. But then when we dive a little bit deeper, typically I see, and you can corroborate this, not enough protein, too much fat,
Mm.
maybe too much or maybe too little carbs. It tends to swing one way or the other because the person's either like afraid of carbs because they've done low carb or keto for so long, and then they end up binging on it, but then like not eating it the rest of the time. So yeah, it's like if you aren't taking charge of what you're eating and managing it in some way, you're not going to get the result that you're after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have some really great results because I think we only did 12 weeks
Mhm.
and you were like no abs to like very visible abs by the end.
Oh, like oh, it's 11:11 my time. Okay, wait, let me text my training partner. We always race for angel numbers. Okay.
Nice. I love it.
Okay. So oh, you know what? I lose my stuff in the cloud. Like I couldn't get a bunch of stuff in the cloud. And so I think I may have our progress. No, here it is.
Oh, nice.
I could not believe.
That was you when you started. Yep, I remember.
And you know, I felt like I felt good on the inside. And when I would see pictures of myself, I'm like, what the hell? That's my stomach. Like I know I didn't like that. And then okay, so April, and then this one is August.
Yeah.
Is a
big change. Big change.
Yeah. And I wasn't able to work out because I was still dealing with my flares. I was still having my neck issues. So like that's like minimal. That's like just walking and light weights.
Yeah, I remember you were doing a little bit of weight training.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, because you know what? Because how I felt about it too is that it was emotional regulation for me. And prior to macros and prior to the anti-inflammatory diet, I didn't know how to listen to my body. So it would be always so frustrating. Like when before the pandemic, our Pilates studio was next to a really high-end grocery store. So we would go to the salad bar and like make this great salad. But girl, now that I know like what I was putting on it, it was probably like a 600 to 700 calorie salad.
Yeah.
And so, oh, is that my mom? She can get it. She knows I have this appointment. Sorry. So so I wanted to do that so I could listen, so I could know what to eat to have the outcome.
Right.
Because before that, I was working out and just dealing with flares and taking time off, but I was like working out really hard and just dealing with my body as a Band-Aid solution. And so when I was working with you, I was just like, okay, I am going to notice like how I feel about the food, how I feel about measuring, how I feel about being restricted, how I feel about saying no to things, which it was easy to say no because we were doing the pandemic. But like, do you know what I mean? Like I saw it as a place where I could focus and be like, this is my emotional state. However I'm feeling about the process of tracking right now is actually my emotional state. So how am I feeling about this? And where is this emotion showing up in other places? And where can I like massage that emotion somewhere else to make this experience easier? And that's like really like allowed me to stick with it and have those results because I used it like that.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So let's go after that 12 weeks and you went on tell us a little bit about where you went from there into where you are now.
Yeah. It's all about like self-trust and self-betrayal. Is like a lot of my like inner work and my life lessons, which I mean, it's everyone's life lessons, but like astrologically, like that's my stamp. Like,
yes. And that's one of my big messages too, is that tracking macros taught me how to trust myself.
yeah.
I did not trust myself, and I didn't trust food before I started doing that process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we finished, I was like, okay, I know, like I can work with this on my own. I want to do this on my own. And then one day I was sitting on the couch, and this is like scarcity and not trusting situation. I'm sitting on the couch, and my jean shorts were so big on me. I could clearly see through my jeans to my thighs. Like that's how big they were. And I'm looking, I was like, why do I have clothes that don't fit me? And I was like, oh my God, you don't trust yourself. So then, because I was like, you don't want to get rid of them because you're afraid you're going to waste the money. And
yeah, in case you need them again. Yeah.
yes. And so then after that, I was like, you need to trust yourself. And so I intentionally stopped tracking because I was like, now you need to learn how to trust yourself. Like now you got it regulated. Now you need to learn how to trust yourself. So I stopped tracking for a while, like maybe like 4 or 5 months, gained some weight, like, and then, and I reconnected with like my ex-boyfriend, who's like the best and worst in one package. And we started like talking. He's in the same industry and he's brilliant. And he's like, I'll help you. Like, if you want help, I'll teach you the way that we do it. And the person that he learned from is a neurologist. I was like, okay, like, let's try this. So like, see what this does. So I worked with him and then like got, really great results, like did the whole thing. And then we started to mesh a little bit, and then the old stuff came up and I was like, you're out. So then I just did stuff on my own, and then the holidays came, and then I didn't really care because I didn't care. And then I put myself on a reverse diet like mid-January, and then stopped it in March when I had an astrological conjunction that my energy tapped into, where I had the idea, you don't have inflammation anymore. You've done the work
in your stories. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I looked at my astrologer, I was like, oh my God, like the planets actually shifted in my natal chart. And I had the idea. So I had the idea before I got the confirmation. So I've just been playing with, and I haven't been able to track. Like I've tried to track. I just can't bring myself to do it. And so now like I'm practicing moderation and like finding the middle, and like eating food off of my anti-inflammatory list. But what I've noticed now that I don't have the fear around food is when I eat the food that I'm supposed to eat, I feel super energized. And then if I eat the food that I'm not supposed to eat, I'm just like a little gassy.
Yeah. Yeah. I know how that is with my inflammatory bowel disease. Yeah. If I eat the things that I know like affect me, I get that way.
Yeah. It is so funny that like, I know we have so many similarities.
Well, that's so cool. I mean, you look great. Like you've maintained, if not improved, your results. And I know that you're lifting weights like all the time now. And I knew that your nutrition had changed and that you were doing more intuitive eating, but I feel like doing that stint with the macros taught you how to balance your food and how to have it in a way that supported your goals and got you there. And now you've been able to maintain, if not improve upon.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Totally. Like
awesome.
It was incredible. Like I'm so glad I did it when I would like see people talk crap about macros, I'm like, you don't even know. I was like, you're talking crap about macros because you are avoiding your emotions. If you use it.
I remember seeing some of those posts. Yeah. I mean, you can't knock it until you try it. I get it if you've done it and had bad experiences, but even then, I tracked macros several times before I was successful with it. And it was because I was trying to do it on my own and I didn't know what I was doing really. And I was doing the Pop-Tart, if it fits your macros. I will never forget buying red velvet Pop-Tarts because they fit my macros.
Seriously. Yeah. We're like eating trash food just because it hits.
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Well, I mean, that was really all I wanted to talk about today, just so that the women in the group could hear somebody's personal experience and macro tracking journey. If they would like to connect with you, I'm going to put your Instagram handle in the chat, and then you can tell us a little bit more about where to find you and what all you do.
Yay. Yeah. Like that's definitely the best place. Cause then you can do the hyperlinks in the bio. And, I've been in fitness for 22 years and done like lots of stuff, like lots of different training modalities and stuff. And then very spiritual, like, and I always like feel like spiritual makes it sound like so arrogant sometimes, I think, but like spiritual, like the term spiritual came about in the 1500s. Like it's just a term to say like what's on the invisible side. So I
Right.
really love to like look at emotions and look at the chakras and look at like there's grid systems in your body that you can activate to really feel a deeper connection to yourself. And one of the programs that I have that's coming up that starts on August 1st is the Power Moves integration. And I did an hour-long workshop that's free on YouTube, and taught all the tools that I went through 13 years ago when I stopped binge eating, and like some of the stuff that I've learned along the way to accelerate people's progress. So that's free. And then I have an integration that's 4 weeks long, that I'm going to walk people through the tools so that they can actually like understand how to use them. But it's designed to where if you're not ready, you can do it for free. You can just.
Cool. Well, Lauren is a great teacher too. So I remember I've done some of her meditations when I was having some inflammation issues of my own. And she had one that I would listen to like every morning for months. And then she gave me some exercises to do too. Like you would have me do this like foot rotation thing. And it was all really helpful. So she has a whole vast knowledge of experience, things that I'm definitely not an expert in, that are awesome. So go check her out. And thank you so much for coming and spending a little bit of time with me and with the group today.
Hey, thank you. And you were in my group. I went ahead and streamed this into my group.
Awesome. Awesome.
So wait a minute. Wait, before you hang up, tell my
Okay.
about you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, sarah.shearer.coaching. And my Facebook group is called Macros and Fitness Support for Women, and it's free. So you can join that. You just got to put in your name and answer a couple of questions. So I know you're not a bot. And yeah, and I do one-on-one macro coaching. I have a group coaching program that's actually starting next week called Light It Up, where it's weight training workouts plus your macros in one program, and it's 6 weeks long. I do virtual training, so fitness and nutrition. I'm also pretty much a spiritual student in person as well. So yeah, if you follow Lauren, you might want to follow me too.
Yeah, we're always on. Yeah, on each other's stories. Okay, thank you so much.